Hello there, and welcome to the Polish Grand Prix here on Global Formula Automobilista Season 3. Well, as you can see, somehow, Scott Dixon for C-Pop Racing has stuck it on pole. I don't think we've seen the team on pole for last season, it might even be. But spectacular drive has put Dixon at the front, so we'll see what he can do from here. Nick Heidfeld, current championship leader, is at second place on the grid, so perfect place with his rivals not necessarily right behind him. Sebastian Vettel had a strong race last time out and has qualified third again here. Ooh, it's a big slider, yeah. Nico Hulkenberg, second in the championship, second last race in the master of the two-stop. He's in fourth place, ahead of Alexander Rossi, another driver whose championship standing probably doesn't reflect how good he's been this year. Stirling takes 6th for Red Knights, third in the championship and 5 points off the championship lead. Quickest driver on the grid, but not very good at looking after his tyres. Phil Hill for Excelsior, they're up to 7th, with Lewis Hamilton in 8th. Cass Racing, as you can see, have finally made the upgrade to high downforce, so we'll see how that ends up going. Mika Hakkinen 9th for 2KF1, and Milos Pavlovic for the Red Knight. Dan Gurney up to 11th, got his third point straight in the finish last time out. Beitske Visser is 12th, ahead of a teammate Max Verstappen. Antonio Felix to Costa down in 14th, so DTK definitely a one-car team at the moment, seeing Luis Felix is struggling down the back. John Watson is 15th for 2KF1, ahead of Jenson Button. Norris and Raghunathan take off the penultimate row of the grid, with Ayrton, Senna and Alain Prost, the last drivers, on the low downforce setting, really struggling at the back, it would seem, around this new circuit for the Polish Grand Prix. So everyone lines up on the grid. Yeah, I've only got one camera for this track. New track to the calendar here in Poland, 14 corners, pretty high speed track, a few good overtaking spots. Let's see how this race goes as all 4 lights are on. And we are green. Yeah, Vettel gets an absolute launch over the gods. Past Heidfeld is challenging Dixon into turn 1. He's got the inside line. Vettel's going to take the lead, but Dixon holds it round the outside. It's spicy behind, but Dixon's got a decent lead now. Heidfeld challenging the inside of Vettel into breaking point. He's back up to second. A good bit of overtaking there from Heidfeld on the brakes. Moss has jumped up a bit as Nico Hulkenberg has fallen back in the pack. Alton's down the way as Ayrton Senna's up 7 places into 12th already. He's got some incredible start skill, and boy has it paid off there. Absolutely stunning driving there from the Falcon. Although low downforce, he's been overtaken by Felix to Costa and everyone's streaking past him now. All struggling to get through the faster corners with the low downforce. So Hulkenberg's a bit of a loser with the championship, guys. Heidfeld's got back past Vettel. And Dixon's got the race lead. How long is he going to hold it for? Not sure, and I'm sure we'll see. And also, seeing these cameras, I might have to just use the swingman cameras for a bit, because these aren't the greatest. So Dixon holds the race lead. Heidfeld second, Vettel Moss. Rossi, Hulkenberg really close to Rossi here. Is he going to make a move down into turn 3? There's a breaking point you can do it, as Heidfeld showed. Hakkinen's up into 7th, so spectacular climb from him. It's Phil Hill is the one that's had the fall. Yeah, so Senna's up to 13th, and he's now already got a second down to the car in front of him. And everyone else is stuck there trying to get past. Alain Prost is at least past the 2 of them, but well, I mean, that's not exactly difficult, is it? So Felix trying to get past Pavlovic. We'll just flick forwards a bit. So Dixon's got a lead of just under a second. Heidfeld's turning up to try and get past. Because Dixon's had an awful extra in the final corner. Heidfeld's carried so much more speed and he's in the slipstream. Following through turn 1, get the launch, and the overtake into turn 3 might be on here. different line to turn 2. It's much closer to the accident, so Dixon's having to defend already to deal with the fact that Heidfeld is close. Hulkenberg is closer to Rossi than Rossi is to Moss, so that's going to be hindering Hulkenberg's challenge here. Senna, it seems, is still holding up the NLEs, where the NLEs have now swapped places behind. So it's now 1.3 second gap. So just to show how much the difference in grip between the high and the low downforce is, let's just ride on board with Dixon and Heidfeld through this final corner, turn 14. It kind of separates the two longest straights. You can see you're approaching it 180 miles an hour, down to 142 on the apex, picking up the throttle and flying out. Senna has to take it 136, which is really holding up everyone behind, like Verstappen. Only just disappears down the straight, so they can't get past. It's going to be a bit frustrating for those cars stuck behind, as there's starting to be a few gaps appearing. So Dan Gurney, last in the championship, up into 9th in the race, is doing exceptionally well. And Hill's unable to find a space to get past at the moment. Ayrton and Hakkinen are trying to keep up with Hulkenberg, but he's pulling away with Rossi, but Rossi isn't right with Moss as Hulkenberg would be hoping for. Moss still hasn't really addressed his issues with terrible tyre degradation. No, actually no, I lie, they have. So the red lights could be on here for a two-stop. Dixon up front, no, he's often been one of the first drivers to pit. Dixon this year has been diving into the pit lane before you can say, Bono, my tyres are dead. Here we go, Vettel up the inside of Heidfeld. He gave it a go but wasn't able to hold it on the inside. Now Moss is close. Trying to make over. All of this is allowing Dixon a chance to escape. And now Vettel is right behind Heidfeld and challenging him. He's getting a slipstream, but not with an exit like that. So Heidfeld streaks away on the exit turn, 4 and through 5. It has allowed Rossi to close right up behind Moss though in all of this. So if he can get involved and slow Moss up, that's going to allow Hulkenberg to turn up and have some fun. Looks like at the back Alain Prost is really holding up Raghunathan, and Verstappen still cannot get past Senna. A bit of a twitch there from Rossi in the middle of the final corner. Is that going to give Hulkenberg a chance to get through? Doesn't look like it. Doing a bit of equilibrium for the moment. Hakkinen still holding up Ayrton. Gurney's holding up. I know Pavlovic has got past Phil Hill in the last couple of laps. Felix is falling off the back of this pack, but the fact that Senna's there is really helping him not go any further back in 12th. So you can see here, so Verstappen and Senna really close to each other. Verstappen having to slightly lift through turn 5. And he chases down Ayrton Senna. Visser closes up under braking. Everyone else is stuck here. They'll try and work out a way to get past the Brazilian. Look, Senna's lifting in these corners that should be flat. And that's just bunching everyone up behind. They can't find a way to get past in all these spots. And look, the gap just increases down the straight. Verstappen's just in too much turbulence to really do much good down the next straight. Go ahead though, because I think Gurney's in trouble here from Pavlovic. He's closing right up here, trying to work his way through. But Heidfeld up front is dealing with the pressure so far, but he's not catching up to Dixon, and that's going to be an issue. And Vettel and Moss are still there, and Rossi is falling back from Moss again, so Rossi doesn't have the pace, and that is going to be frustrating Hulkenberg, who knows that with Moss having solved his tyre problems, he's not going to have the two-stop to keep himself ahead. So Hulkenberg needs to find some pace and get past Rossi. Rossi had an awful exit to the final corner, but Hulkenberg's not really capitalised. That's lost them both time to the cars ahead. Yes, it has. Moss is now right behind Vettel. I'm going to try and get a move done. Not yet, no. Vettel defends. Pavlovic is right on the tail of Gurney again. So this could be moved somewhere. If I find the right camera, that's what I'm after. Now we're having to lift over the bump through turn 5, and that's stopping anyone really getting a run. It's turn 6. For the moment at least. So this Heidfeld Vettel Moss train is really sticking close together. There's the same gap between Heidfeld and Moss as there is between Dixon and Heidfeld. In fact, the Heidfeld's to check his mirrors is probably the only thing saving Dixon at the moment. I'm going to change the line to those. Vettel is right on the tail there of Heidfeld. Oh, what's the camera like? That's the one. I'm not used to this camera, so I keep missing the correct button for it. Moss is closer to Vettel I've seen on him for a while. As Heidfeld gets a massive twitch through 5, Vettel didn't have a great run through the turn either, so he falls back just as much. Moss gets caught up and Rossi's joining in the fun. Through the back section, little lift for 9, bigger on the brakes for 10. And this fast sweeping 11, 12, 13 corner. Taking in third gear, all about the exit because you've got the long straight before the fast turn 14 to end the lap. Heidfeld gets a twitch. Heidfeld gets a massive twitch and Vettel's going to have a run. Going to have another trap the inside. Heidfeld's going to squeeze him. Vettel's got the curb. Now let's hold him up. Rossi's turning up, but they're all just being a bit too cautious around turn 1. They don't want to throw it in the wall because it's a long and fast corner. If you get off the racing line, you could end up having a big old smash. Pavlovic is past Dan Gurney. I'll check if that was this lap or not. That's a while ago and I missed it. Apologies to all you Serbian fans out there. It's this train here, this battle for second, that's the enthralling one, the one that's most likely to have an overtake and B, a championship determining overtake. The ramifications are all there. I mean, including this, there's 3 rounds to go, so 2 after this, 5 points separate these top 3. Felix Costa's in 4th, but he's miles off the base of this lot. Pavlovic is further down and Senna's struggling here. It really is. It's Heidfeld, Hulkenberg and Moss for the championship. So 2nd, 4th and 6th. Or 2nd, 6th and 4th, really. So a DNF for any of them would be a disaster. And just, falling behind the other in general wouldn't be helpful. So Heidfeld leading the championship, he's also got the high ground in the race at the moment. That's going to help his challenge. And Hulkenberg's stuck behind and also unable to get past the Rossi, who is just sat in front and holding him up. You've got to feel sorry for anyone for Max Verstappen who can see that Felix Costa, who's got the same pace as him, just disappearing up the road because he can't get past Senna. Senna's blistering start has got Falcon into a points paying position they should never really be in, which is impressive in itself, to be honest. And of course the low downforce just helping down the straights. And it's turn 1 again. Vettel try and find a way through. In the end it's not happening. Dixon's lead is increasing every time Vettel tries to attack Heidfeld. Heidfeld is looking in his mirrors, he doesn't want to lose places. It seems. It's Dan Gurney appears to be the one that's going to be overtaken next. Phil Hill gets a massive twitch through 5, so Felix Costa's catching up. As they enter the part of the circuit, this also uses the kart track. And you can see there's the pit lane. It's just a karting start grid, and there you go on the right, that is the kart circuit. Phil Hill closes right up, but it's Vettel and Heidfeld, where Vettel gets so loose on the curb. This is it, this is going to be Stirling Moss's chance, and Vettel had to run the Heidfeld, got it wrong. Moss is going to challenge on the inside line. I think Moss has got the place, but that's a big twitch and the slide on the apex. Vettel goes back through, and Rossi wasn't close enough to capitalise. A big chance not taken there. Pavlovic has disposed of Gurney and has flown up behind Hakkinen and Hamilton there. Gurney is now holding Hill right up. Felix Costa caught up in the mess, and Senna doing what he can to hold Verstappen and the rest of this train up. Visser, Norris, Button and Watson can't seem to get through either. Felix Costa challenging Phil Hill into turn 6. That's right up, almost touching the back of the Excelsior. Not able to make a move yet. You can see the drivers that have done a few laps now, they can see where they can and can't overtake, and they're just trying to, see if it's possible to get runs into different corners. Alain set behind Hamilton, Hamilton behind Hakkinen. Got slipstream into turn 1 on the inside line. Hamilton makes the move but gets the big slide, and Pavlovic, did he have to jump on the brakes there? Didn't quite notice. You see, so the inside line you can do it, but you can't take the curve, he just runs a bit wide. There's the contact. Holds Hamilton up. As second to 6 stay as they are. Hamilton has to stick behind Hakkinen for another lap. Gurney's still got his place, and Senna of course is still ahead. I mean, he's just gone down a straight. Verstappen closes up so much in the braking zone. Oh, it's Mahaveer Raghunathan in 20th though that must be struggling the most. I mean, he can't even get past Prost. Prost is showing where the Falcon's pace should take it. And Raghunathan's the one who's unfortunately feeling the brunt. So as we come to start lap 15, let's just do a quick rundown of the order. So Scott Dixon leads from pole for Siggy Pop Racing, on for a good result here. He started first and he's first now. Heidfeld second, Vettel tries it again. Heidfeld blocks the line quite happily. He started second, drops third off the line but got it back into turn 3. Vettel again third where he started, but that's the whole story. Heidfeld did muscle his way through. Moss up 2 places for the Red Knight. Rossi where he started, it's Hulkenberg who swapped places with Moss on the first lap. Hakkinen's up 2 to 7th and he's holding off Lewis Hamilton. Pavlovic is up 1 but he dropped a few places at the start and had to fight his way back. Phil Hill has just overtaken Dan Gurney, and we'll get the replay of this. So he's side by side down into turn 1 and he's got the line nice and early. He's got a slide. He's kept the power foot down as Gurney had to get out the throttle as well. Gurney's fought back into turn 3, which has been good enough to hold off Felix to Costa. So Hill's down 3 places though from where he started on the grid. Down Gurney back to the 11th he began in. Felix Costa's up 2. Miles ahead, luckily for him. Ayrton Senna is up 6 places from where he started, and he's only not falling back because he's got so much speed on the straights, and the others who are so much quicker in the corners can't get through. Verstappen's lost 1 place, unfortunately that was to Senna, and that's ruined his race. Visser's down 3, so even worse for her. Lando Norris just challenged, he's up 16. And the Jenson button. John Watson lost to me, and then Prost is so far back ahead of Raghunathan, who had an awful start. Vettel is under pressure from Moss as once again Alexander Rossi is slightly fallen away from the red light. Not enough to really capitalise on any mistake that the Britain might make. And Mika Hulkenberg was just having to sit there and hope. Felix Costa hasn't got past Gurney yet, but he's making his way there. So as Dixon continues on for another lap. It's worth mentioning pit window. So as I said, Dixon's time management has been pretty terrible this season and not much has changed. So just lap 18-19, the 3 stoppers are going to start coming in around about that time, and if they do, it's not going to go well. I think we've seen it's quite tricky to overtake, but quite helpfully there's some big gaps appearing, and if Senna goes even slower, that gap between 12th and 13th is massive, and you can slot in that. You're looking on for something quite handy. Lap 25 of course is where we'll see them come in if they're 2-stopping. Although to be honest, you can push that back to about 22 I reckon. So it's still just 3 seconds between the top 6. I mean, this is all going to come down to a pit window really, because whoever, if they are pitting the same amount of stops, whoever can pit into clear air first and do the fastest out lap will get ahead of whoever they're racing. Of course, if you pit and end in traffic, if you end up behind Senna, that's the end of your race, just there and then. Don't even bother turning up. Look at that, Phil Hill has got past Gurney, he's already pulled 2.5 seconds on it, so Felix Costa needs to get past as well. So there's a few roadblocks going around on this track. Gurney, Senna and Prost really it seems to be. Hakkinen, we don't know what kind of pace Hamilton's got to unlock. Same for Pavlovic. But Moss is once again right behind Vettel. Scott Dixon, here we go, lap 18, as predicted, he's coming in already. He's torn his tyres apart, which will probably explain why Heidfeld's closed back up to him. Moss isn't making that move yet. I think they're all just trying to nurse their tyres a little bit longer and not burn them up in the first stint. Hulkenberg's just going to have to sit there. It's 2 seconds now between Dixon and the lead, so Dixon's tyres really have fallen apart massively. He's going to come in. Heidfeld will assume the lead as Vettel and Moss fly past. They're going to try and battle out the top 3. Rossi and Hulkenberg joining in. So 1.7 seconds separate the top 5. It's super close, but there's not really any passing happening at the moment with this lot. Now they've been quote marked released. Will this change anything? Hamilton's coming in this lap. Scott Dixon has managed to exit the pits. 3 seconds in front of Ayrton Senna. Crucial bit of pit strategy there. And Dixon is now released into free air. So to be honest, As long as Felix da Costa and his teammate get out of the way by the time Dixon catches up to them. If he's got the pace here, he could still win this even on the 3-stop. I'll have to do some overtaking at the end with some new tyres, but that could be good. Pavlovic seems to have gotten past Hamilton somewhere. Hamilton's lost a load of places. So what's happened? Hamilton is defended into 4. Pavlovic's going to try and get through in 5. That's going to be in 6 even. Here's Pavlovic just puts it to the inside of Hamilton. Hamilton's tyres must just be really, really dead. I mean, we saw how much pace Dixon lost in the last lap, so perhaps when you come into the pits, your tyres, you know, Bono, my tyres are dead. Yes, they are. Top 5 still chugging along nicely. Still got their tyres intact. No one wants them to come in yet. Vettel now trying to just hide from the lead. Hakkinen's coming in this lap, so Pavlovic will probably catch up. Gurney's coming in, so that's going to release Felix da Costa. That's what Felix needs. Dixon, well, he's not done a hot lap yet, so we'll see what his lap time's like after this. So Senna's coming in, which is going to be music to Verstappen's ears. Absolute music. So Verstappen's going to see if he can get past Senna, as Senna's struggling on this in-lap. Team will pass on the information that Senna's coming in and the tyres must be dead, Bono. Can Max find a way through into like turn 6 or something? Not this lap. Button's coming in, which is why he's dropped back and Watson's challenging. Hamilton's turned up at least ahead of Prost, but behind everyone else after his stop. Hulkenberg has got past Rossi, it seems, into turn 1. They're swapping again and Rossi's back through. We'll go and watch the replay here. Yeah, because this isn't happening. The Hulkenberg's got the run here on Rossi. Gonna go for the inside line this turn 1. He gets it. Gets a little bit loose on the curb. Rossi goes through, but Hulkenberg gets the run. Side by side through turn 2. Takes another curb. Who's going to get place? Oh, they're side by side into braking as the replay ends. Rossi has the inside line, he keeps the position. They've lost 3 seconds! They lost 3 seconds there to Stirling Moss in all of this. Hulkenberg challenging Rossi and they've lost eons of time by trying to go side by side with turn 1. This could be the difference between ending up in front of them behind Dixon after the pit stops. They're going to have to work together to get this place and pace back to catch up to these 3. Heidfeld, lap 20, he's coming in. Ooh, 35, no, I don't think that, I think this is too early to get to the end of the race. I think Heidfeld's stuck on the 3-stop there. Rossi's got 2.6 seconds to catch up to Moss. So that battle has lost them both so much time. Rossi would have probably been better to let Hulkenberg go and just follow him down. Vettel's tyres are gone as well, so that's going to hold up Moss. Unless Moss can get through, this is Rossi's chance to catch up. As the pace fall off seems to be enormous. Pavlovic is up 5th now to the pit stops. Felix da Costa called past Gurney and Dixon's catching up to Felix quite massively. Heidfeld's 2.5 seconds behind Dixon. That's incredible, to be honest. From the lead, Vettel flies into the pits. Stirling Moss is now going to assume the lead. There's a 10.4. Rossi was a 10.3 as Hulkenberg 10.4 as well. So no difference in lap time between these lot. Rossi's coming in this lap, so that's going to help Moss and hinder Hulkenberg. Dixon is 2 seconds off Felix to Costa. Felix is probably only a couple of laps there, he's coming into the pits. Vettel has exited the pits ahead of Nick Heidfeld. So the overcut has actually worked there for Vettel. So expect to see Moss jump ahead of the two of them maybe? Especially as now Moss is released, he is setting some blistering pace and pulling away from Rossi and Hulkenberg. So Hulkenberg still being stuck behind Rossi has ruined his race really. Especially his chief rivals got the same tyre strategy as him. The Hulkenberg's lost 4/10 on that lap as he's catching up to Moss. Well, we've got to try and catch up to Moss I suppose. Pavlovic is coming in this lap. Felix to Costa up to 4th now, he's not coming in yet, so the DTK is staying out. Dixon catching up. Vettel holds off Heidfeld and Rossi is so far behind those two. Hakkinen's now defending from Phil Hill and Lewis Hamilton. So Hill's jumped ahead of Hamilton and caught right up to Hakkinen after he stops. Gurney's further behind as Button, Visser and Verstappen are ahead of Senna, but Watson isn't. So Watson is screwed while Verstappen and Visser managed to jump the Falcon in the pit window. Expect this gap to increase. Raghunathan has got past Prost, that's going to be released to him. So 10.0 for Moss, 9.9 for Hulkenberg, as Hulkenberg is coming in this lap. So that 25, yeah, perfect time for a 2-stop. Hulkenberg using the last of his tyres to just be slightly quicker than Moss. Try and close the gap before the pit stops. Dixon has caught up to Felix, and of course Felix isn't coming in this lap because his teammate is. It's not really where Dixon's going to lose some time. He needs, of course, to get an equal pit stop ahead of Vettel and Heidfeld and Rossi and everyone else. Phil Hill challenging Hakkinen up the inside into turn 1, gets the slide though, and Hakkinen keeps the position. Hamilton now is going to challenge Phil Hill down through turn 2 into turn 3. Doesn't go the right way. He's caught up. Dixon has now caught Felix, and this is going to hold him up. Takes a lot of curb through turn 11. Still gets a stop for 12, so that's impressive driving. Catching up, he's got the tyre advantage. Felix's tyres must be crying out in pain as Moss is coming in this lap, so Moss's tyres are done. Hulkenberg exits the pits. Is he going to be ahead of Rossi? Unless Rossi finds a way past somehow into turn 3, Hulkenberg has managed to jump the Excelsior. That is crucial for the DTK driver to try and catch up to the other guys he was racing and who lost a load of time with. So he's finally completed the overtake. He's got 4 seconds to catch up to Heidfeld. That's not going to be easy. Felix Costa is coming in this lap, so Dixon will be released. As Moss pits just before he catches up Alain Prost. Costa gets a big slide and he flies into pits as Dixon reassumes second. Dixon takes the lead back ahead of Stirling Moss, who falls behind Vettel and Heidfeld. Hulkenberg now 2.8 seconds behind, so he's closer to Moss. And Moss is quite a way back from Heidfeld. See, undercuts actually works there for Heidfeld to just catch him up. And that was Felix to Costa is turn up just behind Dan Gurney. That's not gone well for him. Hamilton, Hill and Hakkinen battling over 8th now. So now that the first batch of pit stops for everyone have sorted themselves out, Scott Dixon has resumed the lead. He's definitely 3-stopping, so he needs to use some pace now to pull away from the pack. Vettel is probably 2-stopping as well, but just a little bit later. He's jumped up to 2nd in a pit window. As Heidfeld's fallen back to 3rd. He's got 2.2 seconds ahead of Sterling Moss. As Nico Hulkenberg is trying to close up the gap. So Hulkenberg does his fastest lap of the race at 109.5 in his first lap of his new set of tyres. Vettel is closing up to Dixon now, and he's going to start making a move soon, I can see. His top 6 is now 6.8 seconds between them, so it has been closer before. But I'm sure he'll start closing up as we will start to hold each other up. Pavlovic after his bad start is closing up, and he's going to try and make it a battle 7 for the lead if he can close up 4 seconds. As Hakkinen still holding off Hill and Hamilton. Felix to Costa with his brand new tyres stuck behind Dan Gurney, so he needs to release the pace out of them pretty soon. It is worth pointing out though that Scott Dixon is falling back in production of Vettel. It's now half a second between the pair. Dixon gets twitchy through the final corner. Vettel's closing. Gonna try and make it through if he can. Oh, they're both sliding on the curb. As Heidfeld has been dropped, it's 1.5 seconds between Vettel and Heidfeld. Vettel is looking for a way through here on Dixon. Not happening yet, but this is close, and this is a possibility. Heidfeld is catching up to Vettel as he's now being held up a little bit to this middle section of corners. Although this of course allowing Moss to get a bit closer, as is Hulkenberg. Yeah, Rossi's now 6 seconds behind rather than 6 and a bit. Gaps are all closing up, so I reckon by the time Dixon jumps into the pits in in about 7 or 8 laps, it could be 3 seconds between this lot again if Vettel can't get past. Of course, if Vettel gets through, he's going to be on for a good run. There's Moss and Hulkenberg and potentially Rossi here who are on the 2 stops. They're sat behind with the 3 stoppers ahead, so at least that's set up for the right way round, but the guys in front are the ones who've got to pit more time so that they've got pace to unlock. Vettel's charge on Dixon seems to have stalled. He's close, but he's not making moves. His Heidfeld's closing up. That's not going to help him. There you go. So last time we're at this bridge, Rossi was 6 seconds back. It's now 5.5. So Rossi finding half a second here on Dixon. So 10.1 is Sterling Moss as the fastest lap with a 9.3. Yeah, 9.5 is what Hulkenberg's done, so he's half a second faster than Rossi. Vettel is right on the tail of Dixon, he can't get through. Which is allowing Heidfeld to close up. And that's going to make it difficult for Vettel. Which is go down the pack a bit, so Rossi actually started to fall away from the pack. Pavlovic is closing on the lot. Hill has got past both Hamilton and Hakkinen, so Hakkinen's been forced wide by the pair of them somewhere. I'm not in the realms of this replay. Felix is still up behind Gurney. Button, Visser and Verstappen have all managed to jump Senna, who's now 6 seconds behind them. Watson is the unfortunate one stuck behind. And that's where they're sat. So 50 seconds is the gap off the race lead, so about 20 seconds is the gap needs to be made up for. There'll be an overtake as Dixon loses so much time there on the apex. Let's see it again, because I've just caught it in the wrong camera view. Didn't fully appreciate what's happened there. Oh, he's got a massive slide in the middle of the final corner, caused by the curb. This is going to be Vettel's chance. He was able to get close as Moss and Heidfeld closed right up on the pair of them. Hulkenberg has not kept up with this relentless pace. He must have had an issue himself somewhere. It's a top 4 battle, holding each other up. This is what Hulkenberg and Rossi need to catch up though. If Dixon can stay ahead at this terrible pace, it's going to help Hulkenberg catch back into the battle. Rossi will get involved eventually, and Pavlovic might even become a factor. Let's go. And Dixon's got at least 7 more laps of these tortured tyres. He's got the pace and he's got the position, and he's on a track that seems to be difficult to overtake on. All of this is helping Scott Dixon keep the lead for the moment. And if he can just keep utilising that fresh tyre undercut, yeah, we could still go on for a good result. Vettel closing up on Dixon, trying to find a way through somewhere. As you can see in the background, Nico Hulkenberg has closed right into this group. 1.6 seconds as we approach the halfway distance, separating the top 5. Rossi doesn't seem to be closing up at all though, as he's actually more in threat from Pavlovic than he is to catching the guys up in front. As Dixon feels his way through turn 10, Vettel's trying to keep up, and actually Heidfeld's dropped away a bit. And now Moss is closing into Heidfeld more often than not, and Hulkenberg's also joining in the fun. It's going to be a problem for Moss, so any of these make a slip up and they could lose 1 to 4 positions. Vettel having a go here at Dixon into turn 1. Vettel's got the inside line. He lost it on the curb and Dixon keeps the position. Heidfeld's going to close right up now. Try and capitalise on the mistake, but no, he'd fallen away from Vettel. He's having to defend from Moss as Moss launches it up the inside. Moss slithers up as Hulkenberg joins him as well. I think Heidfeld loses 2 places in 1 corner there, as we said. Make a silly mistake, and it can all go wrong. So he hasn't closed in on Vettel and capitalised on the mistake that Sebastian made. He runs wide and Moss goes through, and Hulkenberg says, you know what, I'm going to join in the fun too. So Heidfeld goes, well, in about 3 seconds from extending his championship lead to throwing it away. Moss and Hulkenberg here, both of them of course 2 stopping, while everyone else around is 3 stopping. If they're moving through the pack, that is not good news for Dixon, Vettel and Heidfeld. I mean, even Rossi's starting to close up. And he's bringing Pavlovic with him, so it's a 7-car battle for the lead pretty much now. As Moss and Hulkenberg have got the pace over Dixon and Vettel, just can't use it. Neither Dixon nor Vettel have even stood on the podium this season, so they're battling for the lead. They both want the victory. They need the victory for their teams. Neither team, in fact, has a podium so far. Stirling Moss is on a mission here. He can find a way past Vettel, which he's not found yet. He will, but he needs to do it sooner before, you know, while he pulls a little gap to Hulkenberg and Hulkenberg can't follow him through, because yes, it was nice to get past Heidfeld, it wasn't nice that Hulkenberg followed. Moss needed Hulkenberg to be stuck behind Heidfeld and falling away. As you can see there, Hulkenberg nearly stuck his nose up on Moss. Dixon, 40 laps to go, 35 down, so 2.5 to 3 laps and Dixon will be getting rid of those tyres, so his pace will be evaporating at this point. He doesn't have any speed so far. Moss, there's been a twitch, but Hulkenberg can't follow. Moss is in a situation with Vettel, and Vettel isn't going to challenge Dixon here into turn 1. 10.5, 10.6, 10.7 for Hulkenberg as Heidfeld closes up. Pavlovic is in the 9s though, so Pavlovic is really taking a bet. 3.5 seconds separate the top 7 as we approach the halfway point in this race. So we see him pop out front, holding the run up. When he exits the pits, where is he going to fall out? To be honest, it could be around about his teammate, Gurney, who's done an excellent job of ruining Antonio Felix da Costa's race. As Felix has got the tyre advantage and just can't get through. Dixon's got 4 tenths to Vettel, he's got 3 to Moss, he's got 3 to Hulkenberg, he's got 6 to Heidfeld, he's got less than a second to Rossi, he's got 6 tenths to Pavlovic. So it is super close up the front now as Dixon gets in there. Terrible exit out the final corner. Vettel's got the inside line. Dixon brakes. There's contact. Dixon back up the inside, but Vettel's got the outside line. He takes the place. Moss is trying to get through, but Hulkenberg streaks through instead. After all this, so Vettel takes the lead. Dixon up to drops down to second. Hulkenberg gets past Moss in the confusion. As Rossi and Pavlovic makes this a 7-car train for the race lead. So it's all came from Dixon getting a bit loose out the final corner, missing a gear or something. Left gets through, gets a slide. Dixon then gets back through, but doesn't get the exits. Vettel finds grip on the outside. Moss is boxed in. Dixon runs wide. Hulkenberg just says, "I'll take that place, thank you very much." Seen on board from Hulkenberg, so they're all. So Vettel slides into Dixon and they all slow right up. Moss tries to go to the inside, but Dixon's there. Moss is a bit twitchy as he doesn't want to be squeezed into turn 2, and Hulkenberg just sweeps around the outside. So Vettel's now got 4 tenths of a second lead over Dixon. That's Heidfeld now challenging Moss into turn 6. 1.8 seconds separates the top 7 in this race as we approach the halfway point. Dixon isn't coming into the pits yet, but I'm sure he will at the end of this lap. Vettel needs to make hay while he's got this small gap over a car that's about to jump in the pits. Hulkenberg now has got the high ground in the championship. As Moss is having to be wary of Heidfeld behind, although not with that exit. Hulkenberg going to challenge Dixon into turn 1, is he? 12.5, yes, see, they've all lost so much time as Dixon is coming in this lap. Heidfeld under pressure there from Rossi. And Rossi then going to be under pressure from Pavlovic, but Pavlovic lifts out. Moss thinking about moving Hulkenberg, but Hulkenberg defends, and actually Hulkenberg gets up the inside of Scott Dixon into turn 4. Dixon's going to try it, into turn 3. Dixon's going to try it around the outside of 4. He's actually got the place back as Hulkenberg has to accept the place he's lost. Moss is going to challenge into turn 6. He thinks about it, chucks at the inside. Moss back up past Nico Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg has to fall back, so good move ended up not working with Rossi under pressure from Pavlovic now. All this has given Vettel 2.8 second lead over Dixon now. As they're all screwing each other over. This is exactly what happened to Hulkenberg last time. Went for an overtake, it didn't work, and he lost loads of time when he was racing. So it's advantage Vettel for the three stoppers. Unless Dixon gets an excellent finish, exit spot. Hulkenberg trying the inside of Moss though into turn 1. Not going to happen as Moss just accelerates around the outside, but Championship Contenders all together again. So Red Knight, DTK, Cass, second, third, fourth. Vettel's got 3.5 seconds over Moss now. Hamilton's coming in this lap. Scott Dixon, oh, it's the worst place possible. He's exited behind Felix, Costa and Dan Gurney. If he hadn't been overtaken and had to fight back with Hulkenberg and had a clean lap, I reckon he'd have been clean, probably next to or / ahead of Gurney. So absolutely terrible for Dixon and a warning for everyone else. You know, Hamilton, I know he'll be fine. But if Vettel comes in the next couple of laps, he's going to be having to worry about Dan Gurney. So he needs some quick laps here. Wants any hope. Well, Monster's a 10.4, as Hulkenberg's a 10.8 thanks to turn 1. Which gives Monster breathing space he needs here. And he's back for the win. Vettel not coming in yet. Obviously still worried about, you know, getting screwed over by pit stops. Dixon's fresh tyres, is that going to help him get past Felix Costa and his teammate Dan Gurney? I mean, they'll be shouting over the radio at City Pop to Gurney to hold Felix Costa up and let Dixon pass the both of them in one go without losing in any time. Right, let's just get across though. I mean, Felix Costa is going to do his best to hold Dixon up to help his teammate. This group is spread out a bit as Heidfeld's starting to fall away from Hulkenberg and Moss as Heidfeld's tyres are getting towards the end of their life. Rossi's struggling to make a move. Moss and Hulkenberg are now kind of matching each other. So Vettel was a 10.3, Moss is a 9.9 and Hulkenberg was a 9.9 as well. Vettel happy with his tyres for the moment. Maybe he's extending onto a 2-stop. Heidfeld and Rossi are falling away. Hakkinen no man's land is going to come in this lap. Dan Gurney's jumping into the pits to try and release Felix Costa from there for his teammate because it's not working what he's doing at the moment. Visser ahead of Verstappen, now Hamilton is exited pits right behind them. So this is going to be advantage to Hakkinen and their scrap. It's worth noting now that Raghunathan is now the first driver to be lapped. Actually where he exits could have quite a crucial effect on the race as it's going to be in front of Phil Hill. Hill who was catching Pavlovic for 6th. Oh, and he's completely blocked off the American in a terrible, terrible spot. All down this straight. Spectacular driving, Mahaveer. What are you doing? What? That is one of the worst bits of driving etiquette I think I've seen for a long time in these games. So Vettel must be extending this to a 2-stop then. Heidfeld is coming in this lap though. 42. It's pushing it as to whether you can get the next set of tyres to the end from here. That'll have to be a very long thing. 2-stop or a splash and dash for some tyres at the end of the race. Heidfeld's pace has disappeared since his tyres have gone. Hulkenberg and Moss are basically matching each other, and they're both quicker than Vettel and catching him. Prost exits the pits in a bad place as Dixon has actually passed Felix to Costa. Try and find that move if it is the lap that I'm watching. Ah, it was then. So Dixon's got the inside into the braking zone. He's ahead of Felix. Felix fights back on the apex of turn 1. Dixon gets the place. So this is what Dixon needs, especially with Heidfeld coming out the pits. But no, I don't think Dixon has had enough, especially with a slide like that. Dixon has had such an awful time stuck behind Gurney. Felix to Costa, it's cost him so much. Even Heidfeld's jumped past. Dixon can't get through, so I think, yeah, that unfortunate pit stop has really screwed him over. And this can get past Heidfeld here. Yes, he does. Into turn 4 with a big slide. The whole Heidfeld up. It gives Felix to Costa a chance to play along with these two. Of course, all of these guys, but maybe not Heidfeld, have got one more pit stop. So Felix to Costa's really thrown himself into this little group, battling for position. Actually, his contact, Felix to Costa bumps Heidfeld out of the way through turn 8 and into 9. Felix to Costa is through. So actually, Heidfeld's had an awful outlap there, and that is really going to help Rossi in his battle with him. As Phil Hill is going to exit the pits soon. Pavlovic is now challenging Rossi for 4th. All seems fine at the moment. Hulkenberg is keeping up with Moss. He's played the gap to about 8/10, so could all come down to the pit stops or how much time Moss is going to lose behind Vettel when they catch up to him, because, well, they are catching up to him. Lap 43, 20 cars still in the race. Senna's down to 19th and he's having to pit again, so low down forces finally kind of showing its rearing its ugly head and getting him overtaken in the pit stop window. Hamilton is ahead of Hakkinen and they're both stuck behind the NLEs now. Verstappen pitting this lap, which is really slowing Hamilton down. Hakkinen trying to keep up. Moss has closed right up to Vettel, so something's happened to Vettel on that. Actually, it was 2 seconds and I looked away. So is it trying to lap Watson that's lost Vettel all this time, or has he just had an awful time somewhere? Oh no, yes it is. John Watson appearing in the front of him has really slowed Vettel up somehow. As we go through turn 5, 0.7 seconds between the top 3. Moss is thinking about a move on Vettel. Vettel is coming in this lap now. And Hulkenberg also sat there thinking, I could get past. Rossi's coming in, so these guys are all going to be battling Dixon and Heidfeld on the pit exit. Heidfeld's dropping all the way down to 13th. What's happening to Nick Heidfeld? Heidfeld's had to make another pit stop. Oh, it's contact with Phil Hill. What's happened there? Oh, he must have felt that bump and felt the tyre go down. He's had to bail straight into the pits, so that has really ruined that for Heidfeld. So onto the back straight. Hulkenberg and Moss closing right up on Vettel. Vettel diving into the pits for his stop. 30 laps to go. Should be able to nurse those tyres to the end. Hulkenberg now right in the back of Moss. This is it, back to the lead. These guys have got through about 4 more laps before they're going to come in. Hulkenberg 4, Moss 5. Let's see how that goes. They've got a lap Johnson first. Pavlovic. And third is going to exit the pit stops of Alain Prost. That's going to really lose him a load of time. With Mahaveer, Scott Dixon, as is Alexander Rossi. But Dixon's lost a load of time. And he's got to stop again. Disaster there. Felix the Costa up to 7th. Hamilton's now proper ahead of Hakkinen. Heidfeld down in 12th. Extra pit stop is throwing this race away from him, but he should be able to go to the end. So, Moss versus Hulkenberg. Moss slightly quick on the last lap. And he's lucky enough to get ahead of Norris. Norris a piece between them. Hulkenberg screwed over by Lando Norris, and that has given Moss an enormous advantage there. So lap traffic helps Stirling Moss, screws Hulkenberg over. So up ahead in the championship, now heading towards Stirling Moss at the moment. Hulkenberg in 2nd, and of course championship leader Heidfeld down in 12th. That really screws his championship over. Tells now what to get past Prost when he's in a pit stop back with Moss and Hulkenberg. That's not what he needs. He needs this slow lap cut to get out of his way as soon as possible. 5 seconds to Rossi and Dixon. .2 seconds is the lead gap now. Thanks to Lando Norris. As Vettel has thankfully got past Prost pretty quickly. But that lost time is not going to help him. So Hulkenberg does a 9.9 for Moss, 11.7 for Hulkenberg. Vettel, when he finishes this lap, will have done, well, let's see, 9.9 is what he's got to challenge, and 11.7 to at least stay ahead of Hulkenberg. Yeah, it's quicker than Hulkenberg, but not by much. Moss is going to lose that much time when he catches up to Watson. No idea when John is pitting. Hulkenberg is going to be thinking, can Moss catch up Watson, lose a load of time just as I jump in the pits, and then be unable to get through until I've made my stop. .2 for Moss, 9.9 for Hulkenberg. So they're trading laps now. 10.0 for Pavlovic as Pavlovic decides his tyres have had enough. Milos Pavlovic jumping in. He'll be going to the end on this set, easily. Dixon now stuck behind Rossi. It was going so well, but awful timing at the second stop, and we know he's got to stop again, so kind of gone up the drain for him, unfortunately. Felix the Costa's got to stop again, and Hill sat behind. Hamilton is ahead of Hakkinen. Gurney is now coming to lap 8 and Senna. With how much pace the Falcons don't have. Heidfeld in 12th is a complete disaster. Verstappen is coming into the pits now. He's ahead of Visser, so not sure what's wrong with Verstappen, but they can do this extra stop. Johnson hasn't got the blue flags yet. He obviously got the pace to keep ahead of Moss for the moment. No, not if he does that. Let's see what his lap time's like. 10.3, I mean, it's only 2 tenths slower than Moss and Hulkenberg, so no wonder they're not catching up to him. Here we go then, Hulkenberg pitting this lap. Moss clear air. And he's quite happy. Pavlovic making his stop. Vettel's going to fly past Serbian. Scott Dixon now. Where's Rossi gone? The yellow flag. It's Rossi's blown up. That's what's happened to Alexander Rossi. Oh no. Oh no. Something's gone wrong there. He has locked that car up. And the braking for 10-11, his gearbox is seized or something. And he's almost been taken out by Dixon and had to retire to the inside, so really unfortunate moment there for Alexander Rossi as he become the first retirement of the race. Moss has got a 2-second lead over Hulkenberg before the stops. The yellow flag is cleared, so Moss isn't going to have any issues trying to lap Watson through there. Hulkenberg dives into the pits. Moss coming in this lap, so DTK is having to do one extra lap on this last set of tyres. And then it's going to come down to is A, where he exits in relation to Sebastian Vettel, and B, how that's going to affect Senna Moss. Vettel gets past Hulkenberg quite convincingly. 1.9 seconds is the gap. This could be side by side into turn 1 between Vettel and Moss. And I reckon whoever comes out a bit ahead is going to decide, well, if Moss comes out ahead, he'll disappear and win the race. If Vettel comes out ahead, Hulkenberg could close up and Pavlovic could close up and we could have a three-way battle for the win. But it's the Costa not coming in yet, so he's still happy on his tyres, even though their pace will be disappearing. We'll go into the final corner, Stirling Moss, who jumps into the pits, 20-second lead over Vettel. And Hulkenberg's had a poor outlap, lost a second to Vettel. So Moss exits the pits. Raghunathan unwraps himself. There's Vettel. Vettel takes the lead. So Sebastian Vettel has got the lead back here. And Nico Hulkenberg is 1.8 seconds behind Moss, but we've seen that outlaps are not very pacey. Hulkenberg's closed up to within a second. So Hulkenberg is back behind Stirling Moss, so we've got, what's that, 23 laps to go. Top 3 right together. This is anyone's race out of those lot. He's got Dixon, he's got to stop again. Felix Costa is coming in this lap. I'm just going to release Phil Hill. Let's see how this battle goes at the top. So Vettel's got 2-second lead here. And tyres are going to be a lot older at the end of the race. Moss is now going to find 2 seconds to catch back up to Vettel as Hulkenberg's outlap pace. Outlap wasn't great, but his second, or his first hot lap is looking quite quick. So as Vettel in the lead does 109.8, Hulkenberg is a 109.5. I expect Moss to match that time this lap. Although it's 109.6 and Dixon, yeah, that's not happening. Well, he was now released after 11.1, stuck behind Felix Costa. Yeah, Moss has already found half a second on this lap. He is steaming towards Vettel. A challenging track to pass this one, it seems, for everyone on the same power. And a bit twitchy. And 109.4 is what Moss has now done. So it's half a second quicker than Vettel, 2 tenths quicker than Hulkenberg, and of course 1 tenth quicker than Hulkenberg did last lap. Vettel exits the pits and Raghunathan is going to exit right in front of Stirling Moss. Mahaveer Raghunathan once again unable to understand the concept of being blue flag. Just ruined it for Vettel and Moss, but really helped Hulkenberg actually. He's braked in front of Moss and then got out of the way, and Hulkenberg was able to slip through at the same time. Stare back from Sebastian. This is what 1.1 seconds look like around the tall Poznan circuit. Luckily for this lot, they've got, what, 12 seconds or so to catch up to the next car to be lapped, unless pit stops and stuff happen. So Vettel is a 10.7, Moss is a 10.4, and Hakkinen is a 10.1, so 6/10 what Hulkenberg closed up on the race leader. They're 1.5 separating the top three for the last 20 laps. And they're not necessarily in the order of quickest. Vettel looking really twitchy through turn 5 over the bumpers, and Moss gets a bit of a twitch again through 6, allowing Hulkenberg to stay close. Dixon now with Rossi out of the way, he's kind of in clear air. He's probably got like 2 more laps on these tyres. 56.2, yeah, this lap or next lap he'll be in. Moss has got the lead gap down to 0.7. That's what I'm trying to go for, yeah, so these two are in the 9.6s and Vettel is in the 10s. So Moss is relentlessly charging down on Vettel and Hulkenberg is following. This championship is not over. If it stays like this, Vettel obviously will get his first win and will jump up quite a few positions in the championship. Hulkenberg will take the championship lead by 1 point ahead of Moss. Heidfeld is going to fall quite back. He's into the top 10, so scores some points, but not enough. And he'll need an exemplary race in Japan to make it a three-way decider for the Automobilista Grand Prix. Here we go now. Moss is 3/10 behind Vettel. It's closer than it's been. Closed right up. 9.5s for the both of them. Moss is closing on Vettel. Hulkenberg is matching Moss. Now Moss is caught up behind. This is where Hulkenberg's going to challenge. You need to go a bit further back because it's just Heidfeld is caught up to Gurney. They're trying to lap Alain. Prost, and there's contact, and Prost has lost his rear wing. Gurney's lost his front wing out the final corner. So Heidfeld will get that position off Gurney pretty quickly. Yeah, into turn 1. That was a miscommunication in the blue flags. Let Prost lift off now, let him through, what are you doing? No, we're just going to park it on the apex like an idiot. That is unforgivable, but it helps Heidfeld in the championship challenge. You know how a couple of laps ago I said, oh, this is what 1.1 seconds looks like. Not anymore. And this is what 0.3 seconds and 0.7 seconds look like. Hulkenberg getting a bit drifty out the final corner, the penultimate corner even, turn 13, you know what I mean. .1, 10.0, 9.7, Hulkenberg is right in this. 0.4 seconds in the braking is the gap between first and third. This is anyone's race, and there's still, as I said, there's still 12 seconds to catch up to Verstappen. So blue flags aren't going to be a problem yet for them. Moss thinks how to move into 6. Doesn't decide to risk his front wing. Got plenty of time otherwise. Dixon is not pitting yet. Moss is having to be wary of Hulkenberg as much as he's aware of chasing Vettel. Oh, nice, it over the shoulder, here we go. What can we do here now? Gurney and Prost are both in the pits. This is going to be worrying for this lot as they exit the lane. All three of them get through fine. So they're ahead of Dan Gurney, which is fantastic news for this lead battle. Moss now trying to challenge Vettel into turn 3. I think Hulkenberg might have got spooked in that pit stop. Was that Hamilton and Dixon are coming in this lap. I think I saw Phil Hill dropping back. What's happened to Phil Hill? And Phil Hill, is it a double DNF for Excelsior? His engine was puffing out smoke and it's finally given in. 2 DNFs, both of them Excelsiors. That is gut-wrenching for the team. Absolutely heartbreaking. But we go back to the front. And Vettel is gallantly holding on to this. Moss is trying to find a way through, but Hulkenberg is just being enough of a nuisance that it's not simple enough. And it must also be said that Vettel is doing an excellent job here of defending as well. I often look at the dent in the side of his car from the contact he had with Dixon earlier. Never went the right way. I'm trying to do that. Finally. Oh, sitting there. Grandstand finish here. Actually, Hulkenberg got the better exit of the 3 of them. Moss falling back into the clutch of the BTK slightly, but getting it back in the braking zone. So while they're not battling, Pavlovic's up to 4th, and Hakkinen up to 5th. That's incredible. Don't know if he's stopping yet, he might not be. Dixon now 6th with fresh tyres. He should challenge Hakkinen. Heidfeld up to 7th. That's a great recovery. Antonio Costa is now 8th. Hamilton 9th, and Button up to 10th. And we go back up to the lead because it's close again. It's turn 1, the main overtaking spot. Moss not close enough to make a move so far. Into 1 at least. Oh, I hope I went the right way. Hulkenberg and Moss also unable to challenge each other in 3. Turn 6, last real overtaking spot of the lap. Not able to make it through this time. I think we're all holding each other. Oh, Hulkenberg, an enormous slide there through 4. He's lost some time there, about half a second. Now gives Moss free rein to challenge Vettel. Yeah, we can take another risk. We can take a bit of a risk now. Not a massive one, not like a front wing wrecking risk, but a risk that, you know, he can just stick his nose in there and back out without the risk of Hulkenberg sliding through, although actually looking at it, Hulkenberg was right back at it. He made that loss because it was then the slowing over, no overtaking bit where he actually needed the tyre performance. After Moss got the time back. So 10.3, 10.3, 10.4. Hulkenberg did lose time, of course he did. Pavlovic is 10.2 as well. So he's not exactly closing in. I mean, he's catching, but he's not, you know, imminently making this a top 4. Hakkinen carrying on to another lap, 10.9, so his pace is falling away, but he's still on for some points here if he can keep this going. And he's not looking like he's pitting either, but he's got a good enough gap behind him that I don't think he'd lose too many places if he did pit, and he had great pace. So Hamilton and Felix Costa now battling for 8th place. Button makes this start. This one, Watson stream through. Gurney's the one in the points for Gurney coming into the pits this lap now. Vettel gets a bit twitchy on the curve. Is this Moss's chance? He's certainly closing enough. He's coming to the inside. Vettel's going to close the door. Moss gets through. Moss gets a slide and falls back. Hulkenberg not able to really capitalise. Jenson Button just exits the pits in front of him. Teammate of Vettel. Vettel's going to get through on Button and Moss has hit Button. Sterling Moss hits Jenson Button. That car loses front wing. This is major championship connotation. Moss going for an overtake on Vettel. Gets a bit of slide. Vettel gets the run on the outside. Button tries to get out of the way of his teammate. Actually blocks his teammate. But kind of gets out of the way, but Moss screws it up. And this is gold dust for Hulkenberg in his championship challenge. Not only is he about to get past Moss is also going to have to jump in the pits and get right out of the way. Now Moss needing one more pit stop, he's going to set the fastest lap. That's a given. So now, Vettel versus Hulkenberg, who's going to get the race win? Pavlovic gets promoted, he'll get promoted onto the podium with this. And now Hakkinen is coming in this lap, so Hakkinen is going to come in. So Dixon will get promoted up to 5th, maybe 4th, depending on how much time Moss loses, although actually no, it's not going to be too much. Yeah, Moss lets his teammate through. Now holding Gurney and Button up. They're now going to streak down the start straight. Who's going to get the place? Yeah, it's Jenson Button takes it off down Gurney into turn 1. So Moss picks from 4th and Hakkinen picks from 5th. Dixon gets past both of them, so Dixon up to 4th here. 9.6, so his pace is still pretty good. He's got 5 seconds to Moss. As long as he can hold him off in the last few laps, Dixon could be on to 4th here. Of course, if squeaky bum time takes out Vettel, Hulkenberg, or Pavlovic, that could be a podium for the City Pot team, so good so far. So Hulkenberg now 7 tenths behind Vettel, as they are closing rapidly on Ayrton Senna to put a lap on him. Oh, Senna really blocking Vettel off and straight down to turn 1. Hulkenberg gets through and Vettel loses a lot of time. Through turn 1. Not going to move into 3 this time. Hulkenberg has got 10 laps to find a way past Vettel. He wants to win this race. Pavlovic up to 3rd. He's going to try and close in on this gap. He's got to get past Senna soon. 4 seconds off the lead. I don't think it's possible because I don't think Pavlovic has really got the pace the rest of these guys. Dixon's 20 seconds off the front. And he's 6 seconds ahead of Moss, who is now going to be on fury pace. Probably the best way to put it. Pavlovic does get past Senna now. Lost his time. Also, Senna's got to pit again. Senna's lost his front wing again. How has he done that? Who did he lose that on? Is that why he lifted up into turn 1 so much? Oh, he's gone past the pit lane like this. That would explain why he fell back to Pavlovic so quickly. Oh! So Senna was trying to get out of the way of Lando Norris. parked it on the apex, and Norris has, to be honest, quite rightfully punted him off into a spin. So race winner from Italy is having an utter disgraceful race to forget. Heidfeld's had to make another stop? Yes, he has. What's happened now? Maybe the tyres he swapped to did die and he had to stop again. Watson's coming in. Another splash and dash of tyres. Vettel's 3/10 on the Hulkenberg. Doing all he can to get past Vettel. Not working out so far. Pavlovic has got that button next in the picture right behind him. Dixon up to 4th now, got to put a lap on Alain Prost. Hakkinen actually getting out of the way, surprisingly. Haven't seen that for a long time. Moss has got 5 seconds to catch up to Dixon. I don't know if he's got time to do that and enact a pass. As Felix to Costa seems to go around the outside of Hamilton there at turn 1. Also to get past Senna somewhere, or not get past Senna because Senna's defending. And Mika Hakkinen turns up and gets past Hamilton in the process. So Hakkinen up to 7th. Senna defending again against car for the lap, I think, for the 2nd or 3rd time this race. Hakkinen gets through. Oh, that's a disgrace from Senna. Raghunathan now trying to lap Senna, so you know it's gone bad. So Norris is going to come in. Heidfeld's coming in again, so something's gone really wrong with Heidfeld. He keeps having to make pit stops. The tyres seem fine. Wilson's fine. Don't you know why Visser's just shoved one of the Falcons out of the way. Stunning Moss's engine's smoking! Moss has got a smoking engine. That is not going to last too long. This is championship draining reliability here for Moss. If he can get it back to the pits, they might be able to fix it, or they might decide just to chuck it in the bin. With Heidfeld dropping down with mysterious pit stop problems. And Moss struggling after losing his front wing. This is not what he needed to see. This is music to Hulkenberg's ears. Moss's engine is smoking more profusely. Will he think to pit, or will he just carry on and burn it? Can he possibly nurse this for another 7 laps? I highly doubt it. Vettel still leads. 7 laps to go, and Hulkenberg is sat there quite obediently, waiting for a simple chance to get past. Moss hasn't yet blown up, he's still going around the track. Hulkenberg chasing Vettel into turn 1. Is it going to be a move? Not yet, it would seem. 16 Raghunathan is out of the race now. The chopper of Mahaveer, yes, his engine's gone next. But his engine's gone more spectacularly and more instantly. I'd go down to 14. Will at least get to the end of that and pit again. Watson sat behind Hulkenberg and Vettel is in the yellow flag zone. That engine on Moss is not healthy. It's not healthy at all, but it's still chugging along. It has released the pressure on Dixon, who's now at 8 seconds behind to Moss, and Moss is losing pace, so it's 12.3. Felix is 10.2. But Hamilton's done a 9.7. That shows how much of a struggle town he's in. Pavlovic hasn't really made an impression on Hulkenberg and Vettel. It's actually Hulkenberg and Vettel being challenged by Watson, who's on fresh tyres. Norris is going through turn 9 at the scene, so he's still got that engine with whatever smoke screen's got. This is somebody else off now, as it's Dan Gurney's had a big crash at the final corner. Gurney's had an absolute monster smash in the braking. Fastest corner on the track. Yes, his eyes twitched under the braking. Big hit. He's on his side. Parked up against the wall. That's a strange one for Gurney. Look at that. He's lost it under braking. Heavy hit. He's ended up on his side on the Armco. Bang. Scraping along. Not the rider he was expecting, I don't think. Let's see, so he's turning in to hit the brakes, the back goes. Tries to catch it, but it's on the grass at, what, 180, 140 miles an hour or so by that point. Trying to say that not much he can do. And there comes the wall. Big hit. Wall bends. Car rises up. Bounces off the roll hoop. Flicks back. And rolls along the wall towards the tyres. But it finally rests on the ground. Scary moment there for Dan Gurney. Unfortunately comes to an end another chance he had to score some points. Moss's horrible engine getting even smokier every time it goes past. He's done 69 laps now. And then I think the Hulkenberg is under pressure here from Watson. This is the thing that Vettel needs. A lapped driver trying to lap the guy he's racing. Dixon's fourth is looking better every time we look back, especially with Moss's engine smoking. Felix Costa's still got Hakkinen really challenging here and pressuring him to the place. Another yellow flag as now Moss's engine has finally blown up. It was a failure waiting to happen, and unless something cool and ironic happens to Hulkenberg, I think the DTK driver's going to have a spectacular championship lead after this, as Moss's engine finally gives up and goes through turn 6. An unfortunate way to end the race. It was a stunning drive from Moss and he could have won it at one point. But contact with Jenson barking at turn 3 ruined his chance for the race lead, and then, well, his engine was going to blow up anyway. It doesn't really matter, it's just slightly less cool he blew up from 5th and not the lead. As Moss is cleared away, leaving up this 5-lap thriller for the end. Dixon 4th out. It's Felix, Costa, Hakkinen and Hamilton now battling for 5th. Hakkinen tried to get past Felix, but Hamilton capitalised as Hakkinen got caught on the apex. And then against turn with Felix is still 5th. Hamilton has now got past Hakkinen. Watson still sat behind the race leaders. Vettel getting a little bit on the dirt there into turn 1. Surprised that he wanted to take that much risk. He's actually looking at from turn 2, he's throwing dirt at Hulkenberg's tyres to try and A, distract him, and B, dirty his tyres. Pavlovic's the lone red knight left now. second and third, just hoping they can stick around to get the podium for the team. Maybe a win if Vettel and Hulkenberg then do something stupid. Hakkinen now falling behind Hamilton. Hamilton's lack of pace has really allowed Felix to Costa to have a decent run that lap. Pull away. So I think Vettel might have had a terrible exit at the final corner because Hulkenberg's closed up 2/10 down the start straight. Not enough to make a move yet. Like noting that Ayrton Senna in 16th still hasn't actually got technically overtaken Stirling Moss until now. That's how far behind he is. So now we've got 15 cars running, so everybody left running is going to score points. Well, not points. 15. We're in the points paying positions. And with 2 laps to go, Vettel still leads by 4/10 over Hulkenberg. Pavlovic is third. He's 3 seconds off. He's not going to make an impression. Dixon's a further 19 back. Let's see, Hulkenberg, is this a chance? 2 laps to go. Can he find a way past the Harvey? Not yet, it doesn't seem. Felix is still ahead of Hamilton and Hakkinen. 3 of them don't look like they're going to be ruining each other's races just yet. If you get past the lap to Alain Prost, just spreads them out before the crucial overtaking spot. Although Hamilton has flown up right behind Felix to Costa through the final corner. He's challenging the DTK through turn 1. Got the inside line, but Felix finds the grip on the outside. Hakkinen turns up, he's got a superior run, but Hamilton just blocks as the keep of 2 is a perfect place to shut the door and make it look like the racing line. Turn 6 on this lap now, Hamilton's got the exit, and has he got the run through 5? No, he hasn't. Felix keeps the position for the moment. As Vettel starts the final lap ahead of Nico Hulkenberg into the breaking point of 3. Not going to be the move, unfortunately, for any Hulkenberg fans out there. And Vettel fans, it's fantastic. Vettel really has got 2 overtaking spots to worry about. Turn 6 here, Hulkenberg can invent a move to get through. So unless Hulkenberg gets a run out of turn 13 and into the final corner, this could be good news. Felix to Costa. Keeping the position, Hamilton's there. Hakkinen's closer to Hamilton. Is there going to be a chance? Not into there. As we go back to Vettel and Hulkenberg. Sebastian Vettel. First podium of the season for the team. First podium of the season for the driver. And it's going to be victory. Sebastian Vettel wins the Polish Grand Prix by 4/10 over Sebastian Vettel. What a drive from the Harvey. An impeccable 2-stop. Nets in a fantastic victory. Pavlovic takes third and Scott Dixon is going to get, wasn't a podium, but was the best finish of the season for Dixon. And Siggy Pop, he comes across the line to take 4th place. Brilliant drive there. Felix to Costa, got 4 corners to make it, to hold off Hamilton and Hakkinen. Good finish for Hakkinen, it must be said, as he's had some terrible results despite having a pole position earlier of the year in Germany. Felix to Costa will take 5th place, Hamilton 6th and Hakkinen 7th. Visser will come across the line in 8th. Max Verstappen, the last remaining of the non-lap drivers, in 9th. John Watson is in 10th, Jenson in 11th, Heidfeld 12th, Norris 13th, Prost 14th, and Senna takes 15th. So Falcon do at least get double points despite such a terrible race for the pace. So there we have it. Sebastian Vettel is your race winner. No Spinara for the German here in Poland. So that was the Season 3 Polish Grand Prix here at Poznan. It's a nice little circuit, and I reckon with a bit more power variety it could be a fun little track. Might see it again. If you enjoyed this race, please, if you're watching this on YouTube, smash the like button underneath, subscribe if you're new, come along. There's 2 races left in the season. There's Okayama next, and if you don't know what that's like, well, it might be a bit boring in real life, but last season's Japanese Grand Prix was one of the funniest races I've ever seen. So stick around next week for the Japanese Grand Prix, where Nico Hulkenberg could be declared our champion. So, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoy the series, come along to the thread, it's in the description, come and sign up, and who knows, we might see you on the grid next race. So thank you for watching, and see you next time. Goodbye.